Right, so we move on now to chapter Luqman. This is the only chapter which mentions the eponymous Luqman himself. And this person gives a set of instructions to his child. Here his child doesn't necessarily have to be a kid. It doesn't have to be his genealogical biological child. It's just his abna. That should be taken generically. The beginning of chapter Luqman is very interestingly like Al-Baqarah, except for a few. For example, Alif Lam Mim. It's exactly like Baqarah. Then it says Tilka Ayatul Kitab al-Hakim. So these are the verses of the judicious book. Sorry, these are the signs of the judicious book. What is this judicious book here? It's referring to Alif Lam Mim itself. So just like Baqarah says ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Now it talks about تِلْكَ آيَةُ الْكِتَابِ الْحَكِيمِ. So inshallah we'll get into what the muqata'an mean, but here it is in fact talking about a system of thought which we need to imply in order to get Al-Kitab al-Hakim, the decisive system. هُدًى وَرَحْمَةً لِلْمُحْسِنِينَ, a guide and a mercy to those who do good. Where have we seen those who do good? Just previously in Al-Ankabut. So here's telling you how. الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ بِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. Those who establish the connection with Allah and they bring about growth, and in the other period they have assurance. So they are assured of the results. Then it says أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَى هُدًى مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. An exact repeat of chapter 2 verse 5. 31:5, 2 and 5. This is not inexplicable. We need to understand that perhaps chapter Luqman is an abbreviated Baqarah. I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because Baqarah is fairly long, and perhaps God wants us to read this in order to remind us of Baqarah's message. Now here's an interesting part. To contrast this, verses 1 till 5, it talks about those who purchase Lahw al-Hadith. Lahw al-Hadith are events which have no point. And they yudilla an sabilillah. They cause dalal, they cause misguidance from the path of Allah. And when the signs of Allah are rehearsed, so in other words, you are practicing Islam, they will arrogate towards you. And so this is the opening theme of Luqman here. It's talking about your practice of Islam, and then there are people who oppose this. Then it gives you a set of natural metaphors. It does talk about the promise of Allah as well. So that's again just like chapter 29. It talks about the promise of Allah. وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقًّا. The promise of Allah is true. So there we can see it. Then it gives a set of natural metaphors until verse 12, which talks about Luqman. So the first thing Luqman says to his child, Ashkur lillah. So be grateful to Allah. Gratefulness is the opposite of kufr. So what this means is, when Allah gives you something, make the best use of it. Not for selfish reasons, for the benefit of humankind. As we know that Al-Haq in chapter 13 verse 17, it says Al-Haq is that which remains and is beneficial for humankind. So this is what we need to do with everything Allah gives us. Then Luqman says to his bunayya, to his son or child, it says La tushrik billah, do not associate with Allah. And that is the highest dhulm. The highest way to shield yourself from the light is shirk. Then it says to be good to your parents, except where your parents stop you from the worship of Allah or strive to make you join something in worship. Then verse 16 tells you that Allah will know everything, be it the weight of a mustard seed or hidden in a rock in the heavens or the earth. Allah will know about it. So your actions will not go unnoticed. So your actions are the central focus here. And then it says establish as-salat and enjoin the recognized and stop the unrecognized, and be patient on what afflicts you. Then it says don't be arrogant. Then it says be balanced in your pace. So here the word mashik, although it means to walk, if you take it in a general sense, it means in your general pace in life. And keep your voice balanced, your voice lowered, because the harshest voice is the voice of a donkey. So we're not meant to shout either. Okay, so that's verse 19. So this chapter doesn't go on for very long. It's just about 30 verses, which is a bit unusual at this stage. But I do believe that this is because it wishes to give us an abbreviation. And there's no point in having an abbreviation if it's not brief. Yeah. So then Allah tells us a set of natural metaphors again. So natural metaphors are constantly being related to the world of the human being. And the reason for this is we are an extension of that nature. We can extract natural laws from, we can extract our human laws from natural laws. So at the end it says, O mankind, this is the first call. We've not seen a call for a few chapters now. It says, O mankind, attaqu rabbukum. It's repeated, that's from chapter 4, chapter 22. It says, attaqu rabbukum, take guard of Allah, your Lord, and fear the day where no one can avail the other. And then it says, the knowledge of the hour is with Allah. So what is the hour here? Well, the hour relates to a particular person. I mean, Musa told his people that the hour was coming. That's chapter 20, verse 15. So the hour comes to you personally. And if you take guard of Allah, you will adjust your actions to be in line with His laws. So that's all we have for Al-Luqman, chapter Luqman. We can see that it is essentially about, the beginning is all about action, contrast this with Lahw al-Hadith, pointless actions. And then a set of instructions for Luqman to his child. And I suppose this gives us something to work with. We keep it in our minds, this set of instructions. It helps us, okay, well, don't do shirk. Allah knows everything. Don't be harsh. Don't be arrogant, etc., etc. So that's what we need to take from this. Let's move on to chapter 32, As-Sajdah.